Record. All right, what's up? What's up? Okay, so today, oh, snap, what's up?
Hey!
That's my man.
How
And
you doing,
Carroll,
brother?
what's up, man?
I'm good, Luke, man. I'm super excited to be here playing with you and having an awesome conversation. People don't even know what they're in for yet, man. They don't even know.
Amazing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we just met on Instagram basically, right? Like that was it. We just started DMing. Is that what it's called? I don't even know.
That's right, man. I think the chicks always say they slid into my DMs, right? So that's how we met. We slid into each other's DMs and we're like, hey, I like your energy. We should totally collaborate.
That's right. Yeah, dude.
And here it is. Here we are.
So I gotta say, the first thing that I was kind of drawn to was your smile, man. I don't know
Nah,
if people tell you that, but it is contagious, and it just looks so welcoming and loving, man. Seriously, for reals.
well, the thing about it is that I've never had braces, so these are my natural teeth. Um, I floss daily. Uh, it's critical that you lift weights for a good smile.
Okay.
But also it comes from my heart, man. This
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
smile that starts here.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people have lost that.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Life is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get knocked down a lot. And some people let that define them.
Yeah.
And I am here to spread the love
Right.
at the end of the day. And so are you, man. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, how we ended up being connected.
Yep.
We were, before we got started, we were just chatting a little bit um, about some things. And you had put a post up on your Instagram yesterday, Rockstar Dadpreneur, obviously.
Yep.
And you were talking, you introduced yourself and you explained a little bit about your purpose. And I was reading that and I was like, how did he get in my
Hey, I think you hit the mute button, or I did. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry.
sorry. Did you lose me?
Yeah, right when you said how did
Okay, so I was a phone call was coming in.
oh yeah.
So, and how did you get into my heart and my head to write down my purpose? But you're talking about yourself, and that's everything, man. Is there's no what's the point of failure if you're not sharing that with other people so they don't have to go through it too.
Yeah. So something I've realized lately, and I want to ask you a question, but I just wanted to make a comment real quick, is that we as human beings, I think, find strength in each other's spirit experiences, man. And they don't necessarily have to be bad. Ours were, it sounds like, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like there could be good experiences, right? But just experiences in general is like, when we share our story with other people, it helps them. And that's why like I did all the things that I did, like wrote the book and speak to people and do the things I do, right? And so because I was just sitting there after I changed my life, I'm like, dude, somebody can benefit from my story, man. I don't know what that means or anything, but I'm just like, all right, whatever. So I just started writing a story. But yeah, tell me about your purpose, because you were just saying, hey, this is my purpose, right? So tell me about that a little bit.
So every coach and mentor and everyone I talk to is like, you need a defined purpose. You must have clarity. And my whole purpose is seriously just it's to help other people. It's to help other people get through divorce and bankruptcy and infidelity and losing your kids and getting arrested and all these different things that I've experienced. And my audience, I don't really have a small, like a group, man, because I want to help humans. And
That's a good group.
actually, that has been detrimental to my growth in some ways because
Okay.
I haven't carved out a niche. But at the same time, people are starting to reach out to me from all different backgrounds saying your content is helping me, and
Mm-hmm.
I love your ideas, and all of these things are happening. So obviously, if I were to break down my audience, it would be anyone from 0 to 99 plus who is working through some stuff.
Dude, I love it. Dude, no, like, you know, a lot of the coaches and mentors do say that kind of stuff. But man, I think at the end of the day, if you're yourself and just authentic and real and like be yourself, and I think you mentioned in one of your videos being vulnerable, like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, like you attract the people that you need in your life when you're doing your best and being your best self, man. Right?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, man. And so have you ever heard of Naco and Medicine for the People?
I don't think so. No.
Hands down my favorite band. They I know, no kidding, listened to their music, only their music, for like 3 months
Wow.
on repeat, and it got me through one of the hardest times of my life. And there's a lyric that they have in one of their songs that says, I will always love you with my heart forward and my hands behind my back.
Mm.
And good night. When I heard that, I was just like tears, and my heart just fell out. So I try to approach everyone in that way, because even if someone abuses the fact that I'm open and vulnerable, I'm still going to make 20 awesome connections with people living that way. So it's worth the risk of being hurt.
Totally.
So vulnerability and authenticity to me are hands down just those are my top two priorities in any connection and relationship, for sure.
Well, you know, something else kind of on that topic that I've realized a lot recently, I spent a lot of time like trying to hustle and make money, and I was in real estate investing, and like at the end of the day I made a bunch of money and then was just sitting there and was like, well, that's cool. Now what? Right? Like, so the thing that I'm saying is like what I realized is like money doesn't make you happy, right? But those two things do. I think your top two things, like being vulnerable and authentic, is, dude, it's key. And ever since I've started living with that in mind, like I've been happier, and it's, you know, it's not always easy, but we know life's not easy, you know what I'm saying? But like, but definitely happier, man, and just feel like yourself. Like when you can just be yourself, dude, it's like, who cares about anything else, man? I'm myself, right? You know?
Yes. And I don't, so there's a German poet from way back named Hermann Hesse, and that's HermannHesse.
Oh, okay.
And he has a lot of his stuff. He kind of took a lot of Nietzsche's stuff and broke it down like you and I would, as really empathic humans.
Mm.
And he talks a lot about how important it is to be yourself, and that's where real happiness comes from. And how even back in the 1940s, man, this guy is talking about it's so important to be yourself in a world that constantly tells you to be someone else.
Mm.
It's a trip to understand that kind of thing, that kind of social manipulation has been happening since the 1940s, and I'm sure even before that, you know?
Well, and to think of how it is nowadays, man, it's just like with the media and social media, and everybody compares themselves to everybody else, and it's just insane, man. It's like out of control, really, if you think about it. It really is.
It's very profitable for us to not feel like we're good enough.
Dude, that's gold right there, yeah.
Yeah. So there's, I mean, a ton of money spent on making sure that you and I feel like we'll never make it. And that's where another thing he talks about, man, is that when a man realizes that his destiny comes from within, he then becomes a god, which is I just started researching his stuff yesterday. and I was blown away by a lot of it. It was some really profound stuff.
Well, yeah, if you follow what's inside of you, you're your own God, really. You create your own universe, you create your path, you create where you're going, you create your atmosphere, your environment, you create everything. So that makes sense, man, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you had just mentioned that you were in real estate investing, and
Yeah.
I know that people hear that and their ears perk up.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
What did I do in real estate or?
Yeah, just kind of where did you get
Sure.
started?
Yeah,
How
dude.
did
So
that?
let's see. It was like 10 years ago, I was working with my dad's company, and my story is freaking long, so I won't go into the whole thing, but I had to get a real life job, right? And like make money for my wife and my kids. And so I'm working with my dad in a property management company. So I started as like the maintenance man and learned how to repair houses and do crap like that. And then after doing that for a couple of years, it was random actually. Somebody randomly called our office and they were trying to sell us some kind of like education or something. I think it was real estate education. And they're like, have you ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad? I'm like, what? No, man. And they're like, oh, you got to read that book. It's life changing, man. And I had never even gotten into reading books or anything at that point. I'm huge into that stuff. I was busy doing other things like rock and roll and drugs, but like,
Yeah.
so I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad, and literally that book transformed my life into a whole different realm of like, it just opened everything up. And I think what happened actually is in that book, he references other books. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to buy that one and I'm going to buy that one. And I just started buying all these books. And then I started reading like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and
Yes.
Think and Grow Rich, Richest Man in Babylon, The Magic of Thinking Big. Tons of these books kind of catapulted me into like self-improvement and wanting to be better. And so I started getting into real estate investing. Since I was there and was reading those books, I found a local group called Salt Lake Real Estate Investors Association and just started going to the meetings, and they just started talking about investing. I'm like, man, my eyes perked up. Like you said, people's ears perked up. Like I was just like, whoa, what? You can be rich, right? And so I started going to the meetings and then started Googling online and found some course, and I bought a mini course for like $500. And I was working on the weekends, on Saturdays, trying to like figure this out. And I'm like, this is too hard, man. I'm never going to do it if I just work on Saturdays. So one day I just quit my job, man. And I'm like, I had thought about it a little bit, but I'm just like, I'm going to quit my job and dive in head first and just do it. Sink or swim. And, the story gets pretty interesting from there, but like I spun my wheels for probably 6 months, not making any money. Luckily I had a little bit saved up. But right after 6 months of putting forth consistent effort and action, I got 2 deals and made like $25,000. So it was worth it. And then after that, I just kind of went on this trajectory of like doing tons of real estate deals, mostly flipping houses, and wholesaling houses. But one thing that I did was I surrounded myself around people that had been doing it, and I started leveraging other people's knowledge, and so I could fast track, right? So I'm big into mentoring and coaching. I've always had a coach. Right now I have like 2 or 3.
Right.
So I don't know if that answered your question. Well, you didn't really ask a question. You just said, tell us about real estate. So I could.
Right. Well, it totally did answer my question, because I think a lot of people have this idea of you're just an overnight success, right? And really, it's so cliche to say, but the success is just the tip of the iceberg, and everybody sees the fruit and not the roots, right? Like all these different things. But what you just explained is, my system and my coaching method and what I am writing my book about is the 3 I's, my 3 I's. And it's intelligently, intentionally, and immediately.
Nice.
And that's what you did, man. That's what you did, all of those things. You learned a new skill, you started pursuing it, you put it into practice, then you purpose for all of that. And that's the intentionality, right? You quit your job and you focused on it. And you were intentional about pursuing that goal, and you did it right now. You didn't wait. Once you were in, and you decided to commit yourself, you went for it. And that's beautiful, man. And it's such a good example for people who are out there that I was one of them, and I'm sure you are too, that we've had such great ideas and we don't pursue it. And then 6 months later, we see it as a scene on TV commercial.
Dude.
For some product or some idea or some system that we thought of at 12:30 at night, but didn't write it down on our notepad or pursue it.
Yeah. So, dude, yeah, you talk about the 3 eyes, and that's an awesome concept, by the way, man. I love that. That's going to be great. Dude, another eye that I talk about in my book is inspiration, man. And like you just said, you talked about it too. It's like, dude, when you have these thoughts, like you need to take action on them immediately or they're gone, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever ideas you have action on, and even if it's just getting it out of your head and into your journal, dude, like that's good enough. That counts, right, dude? You know what I mean? Like, you have to get your ideas out, and then you have to take action on them, right? And you said immediately, dude, like, that's the only way for, like, we are all, like, capable of limitless possibilities, man. And it all comes in, like, from some channel, dude, from some universe, from something, into our brain, and then we're supposed to, like, give it to the world or whatever. But, dude, if we ignore those thoughts and those inspirations, like, we're denying the world of, like, our beauty that we can give and our whatever, our uniqueness, right? And so that's one of the huge things that I've always done, at least in the last, like, 5 years, is listen to my intuition, man. Like, don't ask questions. Just take action. I don't care if it sounds ridiculous and stupid. And, dude, like, most people, like, some of the things I've done in my life, people are like, that's stupid, man. Don't do that. You're crazy. That's what I'm told. That's what I'm here to do, man. I got to do it. So anyway, that's crazy, man. So, okay, I got to ask you about this, though. I'm going to hurry and shift here, dude. You have a cool YouTube show, man. And that's one of the other things that I was attracted to, man. Tell me about it. What's it called and what's the concept? And tell me about it, dude.
So the foundation of this story is all based on, I'm kind of a people person, right? And so I love to travel, like being in the airport and getting on the plane and everything that is involved in, like, flying somewhere. I love it. Except for standing in line at security.
That sucks.
But I still, like, now I try to make that fun too for myself, and it breaks up the monotony. And I feel like if I make the TSA agents laugh, it adds benefit, like it's good for their day too. And so anytime I crack them up, that feels like a win.
Cool.
Since I was 21 or so, I've had some of the best conversations I have ever had at airport bars, man. Over a beer with a total stranger, it feels like the walls just drop and break down, and people are a little bit more willing to be vulnerable with you because they're never going to see you again. So I was telling a friend of mine about this, and I was like, for years I've had this idea that I want to do a podcast or a show, and I want it to be in the airport with total strangers, because the connections that I have made with people there are authentic and genuine and improvised.
Yeah.
And he was like, so why don't you do it? And I was like, what do you mean, why don't I do it? You can't just do stuff. Like, seriously, it was that kind of objection, my own, popping out. Like, you don't just do stuff. That's insanity. I don't understand.
Nice.
So he asked me some questions about why haven't I started it. And I was like, well, I can't get through security, and I don't know how to work with an airport and this thing and that thing. And he was like, well, you're traveling this weekend, right? I was like, yeah, I got to fly back to Utah. And he said, I challenge you to film an episode and get it to me. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I got this. Okay, I'm doing it, man. And with cell phones now, you're basically carrying around a ultra HD camera in your pocket at all times with pretty solid sound quality. Like, I'm using my Google Pixel 2 right now to talk to you. And so I got to the airport, and I was wearing I was wearing I think I had on like my Bud Light tank top, and I'm wearing shorts and a hat, and my beard was like this big. My eyes are popping out of it. And I see this very handsome, well-dressed black man, and I'm like, hey, you want to be on this show with me? I'm just starting. And he looked me up and down, and he thought for a second. I was like, it's going to be super easy, man, like no pressure. And he was just like, no. And then he went into like the admiral room or whatever it is for fancy people. And I was like, all right, man, that's cool. You know, like rejection is part of success.
Yeah.
So I get to my gate. I sit down at the bar, and I'm looking around. I'm like, who is going to talk to me? Because it wasn't. Is someone going to talk to me? Because there's no option for them not to.
Nice. I love it.
That's the kind of personality I have. Is just, hey, what are you doing? And then they answer. And if you answer me, it's over for you. We're going to talk now. So I saw a kid wearing a hat and he looked like a veteran, you know, and some of us, I don't know if you were ever in the military, but I'm sure you could pick a veteran out of a crowd if you saw one. A lot of the time they kind of have a similar look, you know. And he had that look, and I was like, all right, this is going to be my first guy. And I was like, hey, man. I started talking to him. I was like, you a veteran? He's like, no, I'm in the Navy. And so he was active duty and this and that. And we started going back and forth. And I was like, you want to be on this show? It'll be the first episode, but it's going to be great. And he was like, no, I don't really want to do it. But this is the trick, man, is I'm like, I'll buy you a beer. And he was like, okay.
Nice, dude. Very cool.
So Patrick Fitzgerald, a 22-year-old boatswain's mate in the Navy, was my first guest on my show, man. And we did 30 minutes of just really genuine conversation. And it was so cool. So I filmed 4 episodes that day, 3 in Houston and 1 in Dallas. And I cannot wait to fly again because it was so much fun. So much fun, Luke. So if anybody's out there watching this and you would like to sponsor my show, hit me up because these episodes are coming together. I am growing and developing as I do more of them. And it's a crazy cool concept. And every single person I've spoken to has been totally different. And that, again, so that's one of the coolest things about the airport is it's so diverse.
Yeah.
It's everyone has the one thing in common, and most people don't particularly enjoy traveling. So if I come into your day while you're trying to get somewhere with a good smile and a positive attitude and some kindness, it's a great mix, man. It's a great mix, and it's a melting pot of people. So you never know who you're talking to in an airport. It could be some multi-millionaire CEO or somebody who's flying to a funeral, and to be able to be a part of their day and create some educational entertainment is a wonderful thing.
So I want to ask you who the random people were, but instead, why don't we just tell people like what's the name of the show? Where is it at? Like, is it on YouTube or where is it at? And what's it called?
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Episode 3 with Michelle Johnson. She actually told me that I was charming and disarming, which I thought was so cool. And so originally the name of the show was The Journey, but I have rebranded that as Charmed and Disarmed with Andrew Carroll. My YouTube channel is Andrew Carroll Presents. My last name is Carroll, so 2 R's, 2 L's. And that's how you find me in real life on the internet. On Instagram, it's Andrew Carroll Presents. On Facebook, I'm Andrew Z for Zulu Carroll. as a middle initial. And my website is andrewcarrollpresents.com.
Sweet. And you're on Insta too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And that's Andrew Carroll Presents on Instagram also.
Okay. Nice. Dude, yeah, no, we could probably rap forever, dude, to be honest.
We totally could.
But dude, seriously, one of the things that I think is cool about you is like you have like this huge heart. And dude, all the things that you say, that you talk about, man, is like smiling, being positive and being kind. And I just love that, dude. And I'm attracted to that because that's how I want to live and that's how I try to live. And dude, I always express my gratitude. And I had a show called the Gratitude Video Journal where I would just like, dude, I'm happy today, man, right? And like the thing about it is like people on that, let's just say frequency, are all kind of like interconnected. Random story, dude, really quickly. Like I met another dude on Instagram because of the same thing. He was on there doing a video called Positive Vibes. And I'm like, this guy's legit, man. And so like I called him up and did the same thing. I'm like, dude, we're going to talk and do an interview, man, on Facebook Live or something. And like we've stayed connected and he's from Minneapolis, dude. And it's like, so I don't know, man. It seems like the world is so crazy and messed up. And I guess we probably both know that from our past, right? But dude, it's so crazy how on the flip side, dude, like even if you just like cross that barrier into a different dimension, it's beautiful and loving and kind and positive, man. And like if so many people could just see that, right? And it's all a mindset shift, really, you know. And I think we have similar messages and we're spreading that shift of mindset, man. And as long as we just keep going at it, the world's going to be a better place.
It absolutely is. And I agree with everything you've said there. I do want to. I would like to add one tiny piece to that. So people come up to me all the time and they do say like, "Oh, you're so positive," and "Oh, you're like just so," and I'm not. My mantra that I remind myself constantly is to try to remain neutral. And a friend of mine is constantly preaching stoicism to me, which is a great concept, but constantly being positive is as difficult as being negative all the time, because life is not just up, dude. It's like you're gonna do this, you're gonna have those waves, and your frequency is gonna change as you vibrate in this cosmic fabric, right? So it's my thing is to stay neutral, because then I can love my highs and I can handle my lows. If you're only ever positive, you're going to get exhausted.
Yep.
When you do hit a hard time and you dip, instead of staying here at your baseline, you're up here. So when you fall low, that's twice as far, you know? So absolutely do I try to bring good vibes and good energy and positivity. But I also appreciate the fact that I don't always have to be up, and I also don't always have to be on. And I think just getting to know you here a little bit, people might expect that from you like they do from me.
Totally.
So when I'm not on, they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" It's like, dude, nothing's wrong. I just I'm just feeling myself today, you know? Like I'm in my thoughts in my head, and it's totally okay.
That's a cool way to describe it, man. So I have like a similar concept, but just like describe it differently, you know? And that's what else is cool about everybody, is we're all unique and can say things in a different way. But like, I always just say, dude, like no matter what happens, it's like, dude, just make the best out of it. Right, bro? You know what I mean? And that's kind of like staying neutral. It's like, yeah, shit happens, but you know what? What's the point of getting pissed off or angry, you know? And so like you said, if I just stay neutral, it's like, I'm more accepting, I guess, of what life brings me. And I don't say like this happened to me, it happened for me. Like dude, like that's how we started this conversation, right? All the things that we've experienced in our life happened for us so that we can have the experience, so that we can gain strength and grow and learn, and then be able to provide other people with that, man. Like when we grow and become better and give it to other people, all we're doing is making the world a better place, my friend.
That's it, man. And if we make an impact on even one person, it was all worth it.
Totally. I said that for months and months and months when I was writing my book, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like I didn't know how to promote, I didn't know how to do anything. And I kept like doing these little Facebook videos. I'm like, hey, I'm going to put a book out. And if one person reads it, I don't care. And it makes an impact. That's all that matters. It's so funny. That one phrase always rings with me because I seriously said it for months when I was like getting done with the book. I'm like, all right, as long as one person. But anyway, it's true though. It's true though, right? You know?
It's true.
So you're writing a book.
I am, man. It's going to be about the 3 I's and my story and how I implemented that without even knowing what it was to completely change my life. Because when I was at my very bottom, man, some things had happened, and my ex-wife had left and taken the kids, and I had just moved to Utah. And I was in this brand new place with nobody surrounding me in my support network, and really, really alone for like the first time in my life that I can easily recall. And I'm sitting in my motorhome. I have nothing. My bankruptcy had just gone through. No credit. My car had been totaled. All this crazy stuff. And I had a choice, man, and I was seriously sitting there thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna walk into the bedroom and get my pistol, and it's gonna be over. Like I'm done with all of this. And then something inside of me said, or hold on, before you do that, what if you chose to live? And that struck me hard, because I was like, well, I'm alive, so what does that even mean? And that little voice was like, no, man, like, I have plans for you. What if you chose to live? And then I was like, oh, you mean like, what if I got my shit together and did some big stuff? And it was like, yeah, dude, I got you. Like, let's go. And I made the choice to live, Luke. I made the choice to live, man. And I got involved with Christian Life Center in Layton. Cool. I became the Stephen Minister, which is all about helping people get through really difficult times, whether it's death of a family member or terminal illness or financial issues, all these different things. 4 months of training for that.
Wow.
And what it really did was helped me know me and work through my stuff. And it just so happened that I didn't ever actually get assigned a care receiver through that ministry, but it spurred me on to say, you know what, I'm completely capable of being a coach. And as soon as I became a coach, I got 2 clients.
Nice.
So October of 2017 is when my life changed forever, Luke, and that's why I'm here today, doing what I do.
Dude, I'm freaking grateful, and I seriously got goosebumps and chills when you were telling that story. So I appreciate your authenticity and being vulnerable and sharing that, because, man, that's the strength that we find in each other, man. So absolutely. I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad we've connected, and dude, let's keep doing our thing. And man, we're gonna be in touch, because I can introduce you to a whole new world of peeps, man. It's wide open. There's so many good things going on out there, man, and I want to invite you to it and bring you along, man. It's sweet, dude. It's cool.
I can't even tell you how grateful and excited I was when I got your message, because that's what it's all about for me. And I don't know if you've experienced this, and I know we're running short on time a little bit, but do you notice that, and you touched on it a little bit, but people that know me and are in my immediate circle, they have this odd way of not like supporting what you do.
Well, I think most people have a different mindset, man.
It's really hard to like quantify that and put it into one phrase.
Yeah.
I know they care about me. I know that they want me to do well. But at the same time, it's almost like you start chasing your dream and people are just like, oh, that's cool, but I'll be here when you fail at that.
Yeah. So there's a great analogy in a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, if you haven't read it. And basically he talks about crabs trying to get out of a bucket. When there's a bunch of crabs in a bucket, one of them like climbs up and the rest of them try to pull it down because they don't want you to succeed, right? Like, and it's like crazy. Like, well, and I think a lot of times it's like people are jealous or envious, right? They're like, oh, dude, I wish I could do that, but you know, like you said, what? Just go do stuff. Like, people don't do that, right? Like, that's how the majority of people think. If you really, you know what I mean? And like, more people like us need to get our message out and be like, dude, yeah, do stuff, do big stuff, right? Let's go, let's rock, dude. Right? That's what we're meant to do, man. And I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm glad we met. And dude, I wanted to share what you wrote in your response because it was funny when you said you were excited. You're like, I am ready and over the moon excited.
Yeah,
dude. Boom, there it is, man. So, dude, I sincerely appreciate you, and I'm grateful we had some time to spend together, dude. And we'll be in touch for sure.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody again one last time where they can find all your stuff.
Andrew Carroll Presents. That's my Instagram, that's the YouTube channel, and that's my website and my Facebook page. And you can find my personal Facebook is Andrew Z Carroll. And Carroll again is Carroll.
2 R's, 2 L's. Andrew Carroll Presents. Man, I'm stoked. I think people are going to love your show, and I know I did. It's a great concept. Dude, I think you've got something that's going to explode, man. You got to keep at it. You just got to start traveling more, like once a week or something.
Right. Yep. I've got a trip to Dallas in June or July. I actually got invited to go to a Tony Robbins event. Someone kind of sponsored me and got me.
Are you going to the one in Dallas? Because that's the one I'm going to.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Serious? Oh man, yeah. That's awesome.
Let's do it. Let's be in touch and book. Did you already book a flight? I haven't done a flight yet, so dude.
I did book my flight. Oh, okay. I'm gonna be.
I want to stumble across you in the airport and see you.
No, we'll coordinate that. That'll be awesome. I'm way excited for that. And then I'm traveling. So I just got a new job. I'm a training instructor now, and I teach communication and leadership. And they want me in the soft skills. So like, I'll be getting certified to teach 7 habits of highly effective people. I'm getting certified in the 4 lenses personality course, which I'm going TDY for in April, which is going to be super exciting. So I wake up in the morning, man, and I look at what's going on in my life, and I just think to myself, like, oh my God, I prayed for this stuff.
Dude, that's a trip too. When like you wake up one day and you're like, oh, dude, yeah, I remember praying for that, right?
Yeah. And so everything that's going to be going on and is going on in my day job is adding value to my business and my personal life.
That's sweet, dude. That's sweet.
You can't ask for more than that while you're trying to build your own brand and empire because I know that I will be successful in this, and as soon as I can walk away from my day job, I'm going to. I've got 3 kids to feed and insurance to pay for. So,
well, dude, let's talk offline because I literally just did that last month, man. Quit my job to go do this full time. So, let's chat, man.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to more conversations with you, Luke. This is a great friendship in the making. So,
hell yeah. Okay, man. Well, I better let you go, and I better go. Again, I sincerely appreciate your time and all you do, my friend. So
I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to know you, man. Thank you for inviting me on.
You're welcome. Okay, man. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right. I love you. I love everybody else. Take care. Peace.